So, good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome author of Why Am I Here, founder of Turning Fear into Freedom and Purpose into Movement, and professional skydiver Jenny Cova. So, welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Karen.
So, Jenny, firstly, I'd like to congratulate you on your entrepreneurial journey and being so multi-talented. So, can you share with us how your entrepreneurial journey started?
Sure, certainly. I have initially worked in the industry of tourism. My family business is in the hotel business, and then I stepped away from the family business after 15 years. And I have been an adventure sport athlete, what I like to call it. I'm a skydiver, a base jumper, paraglider, and specifically, I specialize in a discipline called freestyle, which is sky dancing. And in that respect, the companies can book me, and I showcase their product in the sky. Companies like Sneaks from Sarah Blakely, I've worked with, and Supergoop.
Oh,
And
amazing. Amazing.
yeah, yeah. And other than that, I'm building a female empowerment company called The She Who Rises. And yeah, I'm an author of my upcoming book that is going to be launched in December. Why Am I Here? The Map to Discovering and Living Your Purpose.
That's amazing. So, I'd like to start talking about the sky dancing, which you obviously touched on, which is so inspiring. So, can you tell us more about your passion for sky dancing and skydiving and base jumping? And how did you start? What was the push to actually go and jump?
So when I was a little girl, I've always been a little bit of a dreamer.
Yes,
And what I would do, I would love to be in nature, and I'd love to just lie in the grass, look up at the sky and look up at the clouds. And my dream was always to be in the clouds. On the clouds, I didn't know how you'd feel. I always was so curious about it.
yeah,
And so then growing up, I saw the movie with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. And that's where I saw skydiving for the first time. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I want to do that.
yes,
And then at some stage in my life, where I live, this beautiful town called Wengen in the Swiss Alps, it's a mecca for skydiving and base jumping. And so at some point in life, I went to this festival where I saw wingsuits base jumping for the first time. And that's when I decided, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. And so a couple of days after, I went for the first time to do a skydiving tandem jump.
and how was
And,
that?
I was so excited because we flew with the helicopter over my town.
Oh, wow.
And that just was amazing. The door was open, and I was like looking down, and just that felt incredible. And then jumping out, there's a lot going on your first jump, and there was definitely a lot going on, but I instantly loved being with my feet off the ground. Like I'm happiest when my feet are off the ground.
Yes.
And then there's a beautiful experience of just, freedom and just taking that
Did
first leap.
did you find it like without sounding like strange and asking this, but did you find it like a spiritual experience in some regard? Like,
At the beginning, when I started skydiving, I wasn't very much on my spiritual journey.
yes,
So back then, it was just really about the fun and the excitement and the adrenaline and just the freedom of being in the air.
yes.
Later in my life, my spiritual journey and my skydiving journey go hand in hand.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I can elaborate on that if you like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do. I'm intrigued.
Because when I started so I've always been very good at any sports I would try. Like it was never hard for me. I was sporty and I was always in every team and so forth. So when I started skydiving, I came in with that attitude, it's just another sport. I'll do great.
Yeah.
And it was just like a slap in my face,
Yeah.
because skydiving, when you're in the air, everything that is opposite to your brain is what you have to do.
Yes.
And so before my brain clicked, and then you're still dealing with, yeah, you're jumping out of an airplane. So your head, especially at the beginning, is just like telling you not to do it.
Mm.
So you have to overcome that fear, learn how to calm yourself down. But then I was very, very competitive back in the days.
Mm.
And I wasn't in competition with myself to be the best version of myself. I was in competition with others, always growing up.
Yes.
So I had a very unhealthy ego back then.
Mm.
And I came into the sport of skydiving, and I was comparing myself to people that were doing the sport since 10 years. They're starting to skydive. Of course, you can't compare yourself to them. So
No.
when I would try things and I couldn't do them, I was so hard on myself and I
Mm.
would beat myself up. And I was just, yeah, just like the phrase that I would always tell myself back then is, you suck, you just can't do this, because my brain just wouldn't click. I was like tense, and it just would take time with me. I wasn't naturally talented at it.
Mm. Mm.
And when you are that hard on yourself because you are competitive, it really didn't make the sport fun for me at the beginning. On the
Mm.
contrary. And so I so didn't have fun anymore skydiving that I was base jumping and started paragliding, and I stopped skydiving for 5 years
Oh, wow.
because of how how hard I was on myself, and how I wouldn't allow myself to make mistakes. I was such a perfectionist back then.
Yes.
So then various events in my life led me to bit of a midlife crisis, I would say, in 2020. And that's when I embarked on my journey of personal development.
Amazing.
And that's where I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. Otherwise, how the heck are you going to learn something in life?
Exactly.
But
And
I
also I
know.
think it's society, like, the way that it is, like, you shouldn't fail, which is ridiculous because, like you say, if you don't fail, you don't make mistakes, you don't learn, and you can't
Yeah.
improve. So,
And my family is amazing, but also because of their upbringing with me, when you made mistakes, you got punished, like you wouldn't
yes.
allowed to use the Nintendo for like a week, or you weren't allowed to do this for a week. So, and then in school, when you had bad grades, you'd get punished with a bad grade. So like yeah, it's definitely a blueprint, a program that we grow up with, and it was deeply, deeply ingrained in me.
Mm.
And so it took a lot of learning to love yourself, learning your self-worth, learning to be patient with yourself, learning to work with fear, so that you have it as an ally as opposed to a handbrake, and learning not to be such a perfectionist, that it is okay to make mistakes. And so as I learned all of that, I was like, you know what? I came into the sport with the dream of learning how to skydance, and I stopped because I didn't think I would ever make it.
Yeah.
So why now, with this new attitude in life and love for myself, why don't I go back into the sport, and in my own time with patience, let's just go for it. And that's how my spiritual journey and my skydiving journey started to intertwine.
It's
And
amazing.
then it became a lot better. It became fun. Skydiving
Yes.
became really fun, and then, yeah.
Well, I think
So,
you can see that, like, in your, socials and things, like, you really love what you're doing. And I think it does reflect that. Um, so that's amazing. So when I just want to go back a little bit as well. So
mhm.
did you start with skydiving and then expand into sky dancing and then base jumping? As they're all very different styles of sky sport.
Yes. So maybe I just explain quickly what the difference is between skydiving and base jumping.
Yes.
So, when you skydive, you have a rig that has two canopies inside,
Okay.
meaning that you're jumping, compared to base jumping, you jump from a higher altitude. Generally, it's 4,000 meters.
Okay.
And that gives you plenty of time to jump out, have a free fall of about a minute, then you deploy, and the canopy is meant to open. Should you have any problems with that canopy, you can detach that canopy and pull your reserve. So you have
Okay.
two canopies at your disposal. One's the main canopy, one's the reserve canopy.
Okay.
When you're base jumping, because you're typically jumping off of lower objects,
Yes.
much lower objects, you only have one canopy.
Mm.
Okay. And that canopy is considered like your reserve. So you really want to make sure that you've packed properly, that you've done your homework, that you're current, that you know what you're doing, because base jumping is a different kind of risk than
Oh
skydiving,
yeah, it's
you know?
yeah.
And so I started skydiving because I wanted to base jump. Like I
Okay.
wanted to learn how to base jump. I wanted to do wingsuit base jumping and then do skydancing. So I had many projects. Um, so I started skydiving, and after I was skydiving for about a year,
Mm.
I started base jumping, which is way too early. You want to have more experience. Like I really focused on learning to skydive to base jump initially. And I started base jumping where today, having been in the sport for so long, I would say get as much skydiving experience as possible before you go and base jump.
So like how many hours, like do you base it on the number of hours or the number of
No, so
jumps?
you would base it on the number of jumps.
Okay.
Like Learn to Base Jump is an awesome school for base jumping,
Mm.
and they require you to have 500 skydives to
Okay.
start base jumping.
So was it organic for you to go from one to the other? Was it a more challenging process? I'm just curious. Yeah.
No, so I struggled more in skydiving than I did in base jumping.
Oh wow.
Yeah, as in like so when you're base jumping, you're wearing, for me, like there's different ways to base jump. You can base jump just slick, or you use a tracking suit, which is like these pants that have these holes inside,
Mm.
and this jacket that have these holes inside. And when you take off, the air inflates, and when you assume this position, you're just tracking away from the wall.
Oh wow,
Okay.
okay.
And then there's wingsuit base jumping, which is with the what you know as the squirrel suit.
Yes.
So I wanted to learn the squirrel suit, but after having been in the sport for a while, I did do the squirrel suit from the plane, but then I changed my mind. I was like, the risk for me was just not worth the reward.
No.
And so I still, to today, the only kind of base jumping I really do is the one with the tracking suit. I don't really like to jump low jumps. I like to have them as high as possible
Mm.
so that I have all the time in the world to get as far away as possible from the cliff. And those
Yes.
are the jumps that I enjoy. So my favorite places to base jump in is Norway.
That's amazing. So
Mhm.
as a sky dancer, speaker, and soul-led entrepreneur, one of your missions is devoted to helping women rise. So as
Mhm.
the founder of the She Who Rises, what was the inspiration for you to start your own entrepreneurial journey? And did the sky dancing play a role or influence your decision and direction? That you took to start your own business? I know that's a lot, but
It's a big question. So, like I mentioned, I went through a very hard time in 2020, and that's when I embarked on my spiritual journey. And I was so lost back then. I just had no idea who I was anymore. I was working for my family business. I love my family. I We have a family hotel here, and I love our guests, but I'm sitting there and I'm in front of the computer, and I worked there for 15 years, and I just was not happy in what I
yeah.
was doing. My marriage came to an end. I felt so ungratified in life, but at the same time, I had no idea what I wanted to do in life.
Mm. But you were
A-
searching, obviously.
at that stage, I was, well, that's what created this. crisis, or all of a sudden I was like, who the heck
Funny
am
how
I?
it just comes upon you, right?
It just sneaked up of me and just like, you know,
Yeah.
kind of. So it was just, I had, yeah, I just wasn't, I was always a happy person. I just wasn't happy anymore. And
Mm,
I
mm,
wasn't happy, but at the same time, I felt guilty as well towards my family who's helped me so much in life and who
mm.
my mom's dream was that we continue running the family business, but it wasn't my dream. It was her dream.
Yes.
And not that she ever forced me, but it was very comfortable here.
Yes.
And it really much felt like I was living my life on autopilot. I was doing what was expected of me. And sure, I had all these amazing adventure sports, and my Instagram looked amazing. But deep inside, if you ask me how I was,
Yeah, it was
it's
polar opposite.
it's like if I would open up, because I wouldn't really talk about how I was doing.
Mm,
I was crying every night. I was upset. I didn't know who I was, where I wanted to go, what my mission was in life. Why was I here?
mm, mm.
And so that's when I started having questions, and I started having lots of questions. And when I start digging, I don't dig with a shovel. I get like
You like
I get
me,
a
a mistake.
bulldozer out. And so, yeah, and at the beginning, I think the first 6 months of 2021, I think I read like 40 books, on
Wow.
help and so forth. And I kept saying, wow, I wish there was a book that would just tell me exactly what the heck I should do.
Mm,
Oh, and how do I get to understand why I'm even here?
yeah.
So that's when I promised myself that the day that I would be feeling better and I would be good and happy and I had figured it out, I would write a book
Mm,
to help other women figure themselves out as well. That's how Why Am I Here came about, the map to discovering and living your purpose.
yeah.
It's not a book that you can read and just hope for the best and find your purpose. It's a workbook. So
Yes, you have to put in the work.
yes, after every chapter, there is exercises for you to do, and if you follow the exercises, you will get to the end of the book that you have a direction.
That's amazing.
But you need to put in the work because if you can't work on yourself, no one else is going to work on it for you.
No, exactly. So as the founder of She Who Rises, can you share with us more or with the audience as a global empowerment brand? Can you elaborate on this and how, from the sky dancing and being an author and speaker, plays into global empowerment and branding? And what makes you different and unique in this space? And can you give us any examples?
Yeah, so the She Who Rises is a company that focuses on women.
Yes.
So I like to think of women as queens. Okay, I feel that we all have a queen within us.
Yes.
But for many women, this queen is still asleep.
Yes.
Well, like it was for me, right? I was living my life on autopilot
Mm.
and I wasn't aware of this queen that was inside, mainly
Yes.
because a lot of healing needed to happen before I even understood that I am a queen.
Yeah.
And so this is what the She Who Rises does. She helps awaken the queen inside yourself. So together we work on, first of all, befriending your fears, because so many of us are actually blocked and limited by our fears. But fear is not here to limit us, fear is here to help us grow.
Yes.
So if you start looking at fear in a different way, I like to look at it as a child, it's your inner child that just needs, it's just there to protect you. And if you understand that she doesn't want to limit you, but she just wants to feel safe, and you listen to her and you give her that safety, she won't stop you anymore, but she will walk beside you. And
Yes.
instead of having to just have courage and walk through fear and learn nothing, you
Mm.
can understand why that little girl is there trying to stop you. And that can be fear of failure, I mean, fear of making mistakes, perfectionism is all coming from fear.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what we start doing. So we start to first work with your fears.
Mm.
And then we work on self love
Yes, that's so important.
because so many of us, we would never talk, even to our worst enemy, the way we talk to ourselves,
Oh, yeah, that's a fact.
right? And so, why is that? And why can't we learn?
Mm.
to love ourselves. So what I teach is how to love yourself. Self-worth is very important,
Mm.
right? You need to know what your worth is in order to attract that into your life. Otherwise, you're going to forever settle for crumbs,
Yes.
whether it is in the working environment or with men or whatnot, you know?
Mm.
I help my queens look at whatever happens in their life as a gift.
Yes.
Whether it is men, whether it is the lessons, or whatever has hurt you
Mm.
in your life, in there lay your biggest blessings. Because if you can look at those situations, not as a victim of your own circumstances and blaming, oh my God, this person did this to me, or this happened and poor me. Instead, you take your power back and you're like, okay, this has happened.
Mm.
All right. How can I use this to change my life?
Yes.
Right? So a lot of the things that I work on is on that, so that you empower people. When people are not victim of their own when you are a victim of your own circumstances, you give your power away to the
Yes.
person, the situation that is creating that. But when you take your power back is when you stop being a victim.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we work a lot on that, and then we also work on healing the wound between the masculine and the feminine, which in my opinion is a huge topic in today's
Oh,
day,
big time. Big
right?
time. Yeah.
So we speak one language, men speak another language.
Yeah.
But the main issue, which is why first we learn about self-love and self-worth,
Mm.
is that a lot of us don't have self-love and self-worth. And because we don't have it, we attract based on a mirror. So
Yes.
actually, the person that we attract just mirrors our insecurities.
Yes, exactly.
So then we'll also work on healing the wound between the masculine and the feminine, understanding what your purpose is, why you're here, what your mission is in life. So that's what I do with my queens.
That's amazing. So, with that being said, what would you say have been some of your biggest career lessons or learnings? Like, what, for you? And maybe there's been multiple, but is there one that really particularly stands out for you?
Career wise,
Yeah, exactly. Or,
I really had to learn not to do everything by myself
yes.
because I come from a family that goes like this and just does it all, you
Yes.
know? And when I stepped away from the family business and I have this big dreams and this, I have my mission clear in my mind and it's big, and
Mm.
it's sometimes, and it took me a while to start it because initially you were like, really, I can do this? But it's like everything. It's like climbing a mountain. One step at a time will get you anywhere, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that together you are stronger. So
Yes.
everything I do is I get help now. So
Mm.
I will not do everything by myself in my company. There will be joint ventures with other women,
Mm. Mm.
right? Because, for example, there will be a joint venture with somebody that specializes in healing your inner child because we
Mm.
all have an inner child to heal.
Mm.
Then
Mm.
all us women will go through menopause at some stage. And so wouldn't it be wonderful to go through menopause feeling empowered as opposed to dreading it? Because you can if you understand what's behind it all.
Yeah.
And so doing joint ventures like that with women that specialize in this, that specialize in that. I don't have to do it all by myself, you know.
No.
I've got a social media team now, I've got a sales team. I let other people help me, whereas before I wanted to do everything by myself.
Yeah. So with that, you obviously debuting your book, which you've mentioned, which is coming out in December. So it's called Why Am I Here? So which is obviously very exciting. So can you share with us more about this and what was the inspiration for the book? And is writing something that came naturally for you, or was it an organic process, or was it a challenge? Because obviously it's not easy for everybody. So I'm just curious for
Yeah.
you what that journey was.
So out of the things that I do, I think writing, not I think, writing the book was one of my favorite things. I love just sitting down on my balcony and just typing away. what I want to share. For me, a book is here. A book is not about you. A
Mm.
book is here to help people.
Yes.
And I loved writing, especially that book, because I was thinking of me 5 years ago
Yes.
and what did she need back then?
Mm.
And that's how that book came about. And it was like me trying to, helping heal her, which of course there's part of my stories and my journeys in there, but I know that a lot of women go through the same process.
Yes.
So there was a lot of love that happened while I was writing that book. That's definitely one of my favorite things. Skydiving is fun, and I love skydancing and getting the collaborations. I feel so blessed that I get to do that.
Mm.
But my true love is in helping other women that need to, heal because they're going through a difficult time.
Yeah. So going from obviously lessons in your career or in your personal life, what have been some of your biggest career highlights?
Well,
One that
definitely.
stands out.
Definitely, I was absolutely thrilled to do the collaboration with Sarah Blakely and Sneaks. That was so fun.
Yes.
And it came in a moment of my life. I had just broken my leg in January, and Sarah's team contacted me. It was August, and I'd been skydiving and things, but now I was asked to, skydive with heels, and they wanted me to also land the heel.
Wow.
So I was like, when the request came in, I was like, all right, okay. And immediately, obviously, you have instantly fear that comes up, right? And
Mm-mm.
then I sit myself down every time I feel fear, and I start to work with it. And I have a strong belief in my universe. And I know that my universe would never bring something to me,
That you couldn't handle.
this kind of opportunity that you couldn't handle,
Yeah.
And so I just went with the flow, and it was great. And I loved working for this collaboration, and it was a big success. So that was great. And with Supergoop as well, because it was filmed in the US Virgin Islands. So it was great to
Amazing. Wow.
that location, and it was fun. And the team at Supergoop was also super, super nice people. I really enjoyed that collaboration. And with regards to the She Who Rises, I think that, not I think, finishing my first book was definitely I knew since I was 14 that I would write a book. I didn't know about what back then, but I was like, I'm gonna write a book.
Yes.
And
It's an intense process too. I mean, I don't think people really know the amount of time or energy it takes to write
yeah,
a book. I would assume for on any experience, whether it's a
yeah,
small book or a big book.
yeah. But like I said, it was that for me when I'm writing, that's when I'm in the flow. I
Yeah.
just love to write. But yeah, definitely the accomplishment of finishing the book. But then I had promised, I spent every year in October with my best friend at Lake Powell. And
Oh,
it's just the
nice.
two of us, and we stay there for 3 weeks. And, we work on ourselves, we read a bunch, and it's literally just the two of us in nature for whatever time we're there. And last year, when I left, I looked at her and I was like, next year you'll be reading my book. And
That's
she's like,
amazing.
she calls me Jen Jen. And she's like, okay, Jen Jen, I'm rooting for you. And I finished writing the book in March, end of March.
Mm.
It's my first book, so I had no idea, from that moment how long it takes, to do the layout, and there's the cover, and then there's this, and then there's that. And so I was like, yeah, I spoke to her in April. I was like, you'll have my book by October. Well, I'll bring it to Lake Powell. And she's like, amazing. And then the time approaches, and between doing this and doing that,
Mm.
I didn't really have, the book wasn't ready yet. But
Yes.
I did get one printed just for her, and I handed it to her when we got to Lake Powell, and that for me was a very proud moment in my life.
So a big part of your professional skydiving is bringing a message to life from 15,000 feet. So can you share with us more about that, or about this, and what makes you so unique and different in this specific space?
The message is around grace,
Yes.
freedom, and beauty. Like I see the sky as my canvas,
Yes. It's
right?
beautiful.
And for me, it's the definition of my freedom when I'm up there and I am dancing in the sky. And, skydiving and base jumping, now not as much, but back in the days when I started, it was a very man-driven sport,
Yeah.
and even the girls or the ladies or the women, like all the females within the sports were very masculine as well.
Mm.
So for me, it's important that in everything I do, and it was already when I started, that you bring grace and femininity into the world because we are women,
Yes.
right? And we are beautiful because we are graceful and we are feminine. But even if you look at the corporate world, when a woman occupies a high position, in order to get respect, she operates much more in the male energy, like she becomes a man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pretty much, right? And so my message is not just for the sky. For me, my message is worldwide, like we're women. Let's
Mm.
bring the grace and the femininity that we have in everything we do. Sure, it shouldn't just be female energy because you also need to be anchored and grounded and have masculine energy, but there should be a balance of both.
Yes. Exactly.
I was just going to say that is the message from me from the sky.
So I would also like to touch on how does it feel, or what does it feel like every time you jump in any of the modalities? And how does fear play into it? As we all know, there are risks. So how do you use fear to overcome and fuel each jump? And how does this apply to your entrepreneurial journey? And does this get easier every time you jump? Um, or is it just like the first time? As I'm sure there are elements where you jump where there's a reminder. So can you share with us more about that?
Yes. So with skydiving, it depends what kind of jump it is and what the location is for me. If I'm jumping in a place where I'm jumping often and I'm doing a jump that I've done quite a lot, then I still have fear always.
Yes.
But it's not a fear that stops me. It's a fear that I know is there. It sits in my belly, you
Yes.
know, and I just whenever I notice it, I just give it attention. I'm like, okay, so why are you here? I speak to it.
Mm.
I call my fear my fairy.
Yes.
And so I'm like, hey, fairy, what's up? Why are we feeling this way?
Yes.
And then I listen. What does she have to say? And then I calm her down.
Mm.
But regardless, especially when I'm base jumping, there is always fear. Like if you're not scared, you should not be base jumping.
No.
Complacency is dangerous in the
Yeah.
sport,
Yeah.
you know?
There
But
is no room for it. You can't be complacent.
no, because base jumping is very much a sport that if you make a mistake, you very often pay it with your life. So you want to be current, you want to be in a good place, you want to be focused, you want to jump when you go jump with people that you trust.
Mm.
For me, base jumping is a people sport. I love to go with my friends. It's not a sport that I do by myself. Paragliding, I love to go for a hike and then just fly down by myself. With paragliding, for me, I don't do any of the disciplines that, any of the acro or too much thermaling, which are the discipline where that maybe you would be a little more scared. I just like to go hiking, pick a spot and fly down. And
That's
that for me is
amazing.
like a meditation. I love it. Base jumping, yes, there is always fear. It's good that fear is there.
Mm.
I just take my time. I'm concentrated. I go with the right people. I make sure I'm current. And then, yeah, sometimes I ask myself, oh, why am I doing this again? Because
Well,
but
it's
then the
very
moment,
inspiring. I mean, I really wish I had that.
It's
Correct.
not for everyone, but I have to say that the moment you take the leap and your feet are off the ground, it's
Yeah.
an amazing feeling, you know? It's just you in that moment. You are in the present moment, you're nowhere else, because if you're somewhere else with your head, you can't be, you know, you're
No.
just there. And that's what I love so much about the sport. It's just how present you are.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So your skydiving is also about the power of storytelling and motion. So why is this so important to you? And can you give us any examples?
So for me, stories are beautiful. I love to sit and listen to stories.
Yes.
Right? Whenever you hear a public speaker or whenever you read a book, if there's no personal stories, you can't really relate
No.
to the book or to the public speaking. And it's the same thing in the sky, right? You jump and you do whatever it is that you've decided to do on that jump, but you still give the story behind of how you felt during the jump or what that jump means to you, what you've learned from that jump, or how you deal with fear. You know, you just share that with the story. It's not just about the aesthetics of it.
Mm.
For me, often in my skydiving, it comes with a quote that is relatable to the jump that I'm doing.
No, no, that's amazing. So I want to shift a bit now to because you also have a passion for giving back. And one of the charities you're involved with is helping an organization in getting involved in rescuing victims of sex trafficking. So, can you share with us more about this and why is this so important to you? And what was the inspiration behind, getting involved with the specific organization?
Mhm. So for me, freedom is absolutely everything. And
100%.
it's a birthright
Yes.
for everyone,
Yes.
right? And to me, the idea that people get bought and sold as humans, it's beyond me.
Mm.
And then not to mention that mostly it's also children
Mm.
that have absolutely no way to defend themselves.
No, it's actually incomprehensible in many
It's
ways.
incomprehensive to me
Yeah.
how people can do that,
Mm.
and it's it's the biggest business in the world. It's
Yeah.
the most lucrative business in the world,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking.
Mm.
And I have a friend called Quentin Clover who, since over a decade, is engaged in building safe home for victims of human trafficking and the sex trade in developing countries like the Philippines and Nepal.
Mm.
And so everything that I earn from my company, 5% goes to help Canalan, which is Quentin's company.
Amazing.
And the way he set it up is that it's really transparent. You know where the money goes.
Yes, because that's also a challenge these days.
So that's the thing. With
Yeah.
Quentin, you pay Quentin a salary,
Mm.
right? Because he has to look after this company.
Mm.
And then there is another fund where the money goes in that goes to the projects that he's creating. And then you can track all the money where it's going. So
That's
for me,
amazing.
yeah, and for me, that's something that within charities worldwide, maybe 10% of what actually you pay into the charity goes to the actual people that need it and to the project, or the rest goes into marketing and this and this and that. So that's why for me, Canalan is, I know the money is going where it's really needed.
Yes. No, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you wanted to check it out, he's got a website, canalan.com, and you can see all the projects that he's been engaged in and the thousands of women and children that he's helped along the way.
That's amazing. We'll definitely share that information as well. So that leads me to the final question. What are the three key pieces of advice you would give to other entrepreneurs who are looking to pursue similar careers or just start their own business? And what legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered?
Thank you for this question. So, my advice is just go for it. If
Yeah.
is a dream in your heart, there is a reason why the universe placed it there.
Mm-mm.
And even if your brain is telling you no, and you've got a gazillion excuses because it can get very chatty in here,
Very loud.
very, very loud, and it's going to give you all the reason for which you're going to fail.
Yes.
Just tell that voice, thank you for sharing, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes. That's very
Because if
smart.
that's what you have in your heart, then that's what you're meant to do. And if you're not going to do that in your old age, once you're lying on your deathbed, when it's
You'll
too late,
regret it.
you really, really, really regret it.
Yeah.
And this leads me to your last question. What legacy do you want to leave behind? I just really want to help as many women on this planet find their purpose,
Mm.
go after their purpose, turn it into their mission, and then use that mission to help to change the world, right?
Yes.
Because it's if we all think that we don't have the power to change the world, then no one's ever going to do anything.
No.
But we can only be the example that we wish to see in the world. But we need to be that
Exactly.
example,
That's how you
even if
create real
it's
change.
just even if it's just in your community, if it's just in your town, if it's just in your family.
Mm.
If you can show up as the example that you want to be,
Mm.
eh, as the change, I think Dr. Joe says it, as the change you wish to be in the world. You know, be the change you wish to see in the world. Start with you.
Yes.
And then from there, it's going to one step at the time, things are going to align.
Yes.
It spreads like wildfire, you know, one little step eventually is Mount Everest, you know.
Yes.
So just every single day, do that 1% because at the end, it's 365% at the end of the year, you know, if every
Yeah,
day
exactly.
1%. So just do that 1%.
Absolutely. So, thanks so much for joining us today, Jenny. It's been an absolute honor to have you. So, a couple of questions. If people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms to do so? And also, just to give some a push for your book. If people where once it comes out, where would people be able to access or purchase the book?
Okay, so I'm going to do a book launch on social media.
Um,
And for the first 48 hours, you have half price on Amazon.
Okay.
And so we'll be typing the link on the social media. I have two social media. One is my athlete page, with is jenjen.cova. We'll post the link, right?
Yes.
And the other one is the She Who Rises, which is the .she.who.rises.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And my website has also gone live. So we'll be writing the link below here as well. So you can check it out if you would like to.
Wonderful. So hopefully we can have you back in the future to see where you are in your journey. And thank you so much for sharing your amazing story.
Thank you for having me, Karen. It's been an honor.